gorgeous, welcome back to the channel. As you probably know by now, the channel has changed. It's now called Life in Style because I am adding a couple of more elements or different elements to my channel, not just beauty, but I'm also doing home decor. I'm going to start doing fashion, and I'm also going to be doing some life stuff probably starting in the next month. So I wanted the channel to kind of encompass all of that because I'm interested in so much more than just beauty, and I think it's something that you will enjoy as well. But for today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to do a kind of get ready with me, trying out new products, tutorial type of thing on this look you see right here. It's all drugstore. It's part of my Drugstore Diaries series. I know I haven't done one in quite some time, but I wanted to pick it back up, and I thought that this look and these items would be the perfect way to get that restarted. Like I said, I have a lot of products here that I have never used. This is the first time I'm using them. You're going to see some really nice surprises as the video keeps going. Just these products are just absolutely great, and I really love them. So without further ado, let's get into the tutorial. So to start off, I'm going to prime my eyelid with the Essence E.L.F. Stage eyeshadow primer. I have been talking about this product a lot on my channel because I just love that. For me, it feels like a really nice dupe for the MAC Paint Pot and Painterly that I use all the time. It goes on, as you can see, almost like a concealer type base, so that it changes, or not changes necessarily, but just evens out the skin tone on the lid, which I think is great when you want to go in with any color. That way it's just all one shade. If you have any veining or anything like that, this will cover it up. I'm also going to tight line the top. I always do that because once I have my eyeshadow, I don't want to lift my eye up and mess up the shadow. So for that, I am using I think this might be a new pencil, but I know that I saw it just the other day in the store and I was like, okay, I have to have this. It is the L'Oreal Infallible Matte-Matic mechanical eyeliner. So I'm just going to use that, like I said, to tight line the top of the eyes because I can't do it without pulling it up. And once I have my shadow, I don't want to mess my shadow up. So to set the primer, how I've been doing for quite some time now, I am going to go in with my Milani Bella eyeshadow, and that's in Bella Cappuccino. I feel that this shade is the best one to set my primer because it's very close to my skin tone, and you can't really see it once I put it on here, but it helps to set the primer so that any shadows that I put on after that don't skip, because sometimes if you just have primer without setting it, the colors tend to skip. I'm going to start out with this ColourPop fluffy brush, and I think I've seen actually a lot recently on YouTube of what's drugstore, what's considered drugstore, what's not. You can't find it at all, till that sort of thing. First of all, ColourPop is going to start being sold in Ulta, so there you go. But I take drugstore to mean a lot cheaper than going out and getting a NARS product or a Kat Von D product or a Natasha Denona product. So even if the only place that I can get something is on the internet, but it's $5, you know, for an eyeshadow or an eyeliner as opposed to $22 or $25, for me, in my mind, that's more economical. That's what I take as quote unquote drugstore. So when you hear that here on my channel, understand that that's what I mean. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can only get it at CVS or at Walgreens. Even if only you can order it online, the price point is still definitely drugstore. So this video, I'm actually going to be trying out a lot of new products, which I'm excited to do. I recently hauled a lot of these products, so if you've seen that haul, you'll recognize these. I'm going to go in with my LA Colors Duotone eyeshadow duos, and I'm going to start with this one. This one is in Lingerie, and that is what that looks like. As you can see, it's kind of a tan and then a brown. I'm actually going to go into the brown with this ColourPop fluffy brush, and I'm going to start carving out the crease. So like I always say, I always go above my natural crease because my eyes are hooded. So once I open my eyes, you know, and kind of look straight at you, a lot of that color is already lost. The next duotone eyeshadow I'm going to go into is the Merlot, which is this kind of purple wine combination. The Merlot name is absolutely perfect. I'm going to start out with the purple shade here, and I can tell you, having done one eye already, I was putting the shadow on and like my mouth just kept opening wider and wider. These shadows blend out like, I can't even explain to you how excellent so far these shadows are. You can tell, I think, pretty well as to how a shadow blends as you're using it. It literally almost blended itself. So just very, very impressed so far. So this, I started out on the lid, and first of all, was very surprised with the pigmentation of it. I didn't need a lot to build up the color the way I wanted to, and I love how it blended out really nicely on the lid. I've noticed sometimes with mattes, they're a little harder, in my opinion, to get on the lid, and that's why a lot of people use so many shimmers. Again, this is just my opinion and stuff, you know, stuff that I'm thinking about, because I also, when I'm putting on shadows, kind of feel that mattes just don't get on the lid as good as your shimmers do. So please tell me that you are noticing how wonderfully that is just blending out. It spreads, like I said, it almost like it blends itself. It spreads out beautifully. It stays in the places I'm putting it, but as I'm blending it, it's just kind of blowing itself out. Very, very impressed so far. I'm going to take another ColourPop brush. It's kind of like a tapered blending, and the brush that I just used is the same brush. I have multiples of the same brush because I do like them very much. And I'm going to go into the wine side of the duo, and I'm going to put that in the crease just to add a little more depth there, and just to add some more interest in the crease. I'm going to add a little more color to my brush, go back in the crease, and then I'm going to start kind of pushing it up a bit, because I will be blending all of this out, of course, just to make sure that it's nice and smoky, but I need some color again above my natural crease. I'm going to go back into the Lingerie duo. I'm going to pick up the brown with the first very fluffy brush that I used, and I'm just going to pick up just a bit on my brush, tap off the excess, and then I'm going to go up top here and start blending that out. So this is basically what a transition color is. You can't necessarily go from like a dark color to a light color without using something to kind of blend it out, because it's just not going to look blended enough, like in between each color. I'm going to take another ColourPop tapered blending. I'm going to go into the duo Eclipse, which is this gorgeous, straightforward, just matte white and black. Absolutely love it. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that black shadow, tap off the excess, and then I'm just going to go right in the corner in the crease, again, to add a little more depth and dimension in there, and just make that a little more smoky and pop just a little more. Going to grab that first fluffy brush again. I'm not going to put any color on there right now, and then I'm just going to start blending this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into Merlot, and I'm just going to kind of deepen up that purple just a bit in the corner. Then I'm going to grab that wine color. I'm going to go over the purple just a bit, but also deepen up on the crease again with that shade. And I'm going to grab the very fluffy brush again and just blend that out again. I want to make sure that there's no harsh lines. That's why I continuously blend, to make sure that the lines are soft around the edges. I'm going to go into the duo Eclipse. I'm going to grab that stark matte white, And for this, I am using a Royal and Langnickel Revolution brush. It's the BX80. I believe you can get some of these types of brushes at Walmart, but this is a very inexpensive brush, and I'll link everything down below so you have all of the information. I'm just going to grab that white, and I am going to highlight the brow bone. So far, I am extremely impressed with these LA Color Duos. I have 4. The other one I have put away. I'm not using that today, obviously, but I mentioned in my haul that they have like 10 or 14 maybe different combinations. So I am definitely interested in getting some more of those because I love the way they work so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up under the eyes. I'm going to do my winged liner, and then I'll be back to finish off the rest of the face. So to clean under my eyes, as I normally do, I used my simple micellar water wipes. Absolutely love these. They are far and away my very favorite wipe that I use to clean up under my eyes. I also use the simple eye pads that are just little pads, and they do the exact same thing. To line my eyes, I used my Maybelline Eye Studio Gel Liner in Blackest Black, which is also one of my very favorites. I just love it overall, like across the board. It's just really nice to apply, stays really black, and also lasts many hours without flaking off. So we're going to move on to the rest of the face, and for primer today, I am trying out a new primer. That is the E.L.F. Beauty Shield Skin Shielding Primer. It has SPF 50 in it, and I did haul this the other day, talked about how much I love the fact that it has SPF in it, because I just think that protection from the sun is far and away one of the first things that you should be worried about before all the makeup and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to apply this to the skin, and I did notice, I don't know if you noticed that, you probably can, that it turned my skin a little white. This comes out looking like a very light foundation. One thing I do like about it though is that it mattifies almost on contact, but then it starts, like, it doesn't look as pale as when I first applied it. Because I did already put it on my forehead, as I normally do. My forehead is done with foundation and powder and all of that, just because I need to draw in my eyebrows. But again, the primer mattifies down really nicely and quickly, which I really, really love. So I am very interested to see if this stays matte throughout the day, because I don't think it... Yeah, it doesn't say that it is a mattifying primer, but again, the feeling of it feels very mattifying, which I personally love. So we'll see how it wears. And then the corrector I'm going to be using today is also brand new and also from E.L.F. It is their color correcting pen in dark peach, brand new, as you can see. So I am going to, this is one of those click pens. So I'm going to click this up and see what we can get. Oh, we got product very, very quickly, which I love. So I am just going to start applying that under the eyes. Now I can tell right away that it's not as opaque as some of the others that I own, both drugstore and high-end, because I have some from the drugstore that are very, very nice. This just seems very light under the eyes. I'm just going to press this into the skin and see how it does. Yeah, just really, really light coverage. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but we'll see after we put on the foundation and concealer, because sometimes those together with your corrector just make the perfect combination. And the sponge that I'm using is a Real Technique sponge. I forget what these are called. They're the tiny ones. But like I said, I'll link everything down below so you have all of the information in case you're interested in any of these products. So definitely not as orange or brick red as I want it. But again, we're going to do the foundation and concealer, and we'll see what we can see. So today I'm using the E.L.F. Foundation. Again, the name is not on here. I really do have to figure out what the hell this is called. But I do link this whenever I use this, so it is out there. And this is in the shade Buff. So I'm going to put that all over the skin, and then I'm going to use my Real Technique sponge to buff that in. The pump broke, so I have to use it this way, but the foundation is really good, so I am going to forgive the packaging for breaking on me. Now this foundation isn't new. I don't have a new one to try out right now, but this is definitely one that I can recommend 1000% because the coverage is crazy good, the blendability is there, and it's $6, so I really do like it a lot. For concealer today, I'm going to go in with my Maybelline Age Rewind, and as you can see, it's pretty well loved and pretty well used. I don't have a new concealer to try today, but I absolutely do love this one. It is one of my favorites. Again, I'll complain about the delivery system because I think everybody does. It's just completely gross, and I wish they would come up with another way to dispense this concealer, but it is one of my favorites. And I'm going to use the small purple sponge from Real Techniques to press that into the skin. This one I do actually overall like it better than the small Beauty Blender brand because this is a little softer, a little puffier, and it just gets a little bigger, whereas the one from the Beauty Blender, it just stays a little too small for my good taste, but that's just personal preference. So to set that, I am going to be using my Ulta Pressed Powder in Banana. With the banana powder, I'm going to be using a Wet n Wild brush, and this is kind of a tapered brush. I'm sure you can use this for blush, but I'm going to use this for setting the concealer under my eyes. So what I'm going to do for powder today to warm up the skin, because I feel like it's looking a little pasty, is I'm going to use my LA Girl Pro Face HD High Definition Matte Powder because it is in a little darker shade, so I think it's just going to add a little warmth to the skin. Yeah, and that definitely did warm up the skin. I think I may have put on a little too much foundation because this foundation is very, very good coverage, like really full coverage, and you don't need a lot. Mama went a little ham on the foundation today. So we're going to finish off the bottom of the eyes, so I am just going to zoom you in a little more so you can see what I'm doing. I looked around and I noticed that I don't have like a flat definer brush from the drugstore, so the one I'm going to use, which still is not wicked expensive, is the Sigma Flat Definer E15, which is what I usually use, and I'm going to start out in the Merlot duo. I'm going to start out with the purple, and I'm going to get that as close to the lash line as I can. So this is going on actually nicer than I thought it was going to. Very, very pigmented. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to clean off the brush. I'm going to go straight into that wine color, and I'm going to go right over top the purple. So I'm going to grab my Morphe E36 brush, which is the little tiny fluffy brush I always use. I'm not going to have any color on it, and I'm just going to start buffing that out to soften up that line. Then to tight line on the bottom, I'm going to go back with the Infallible Matte-Matic gel pencil because it is very soft. Even though it's matte, it goes on literally like a dream. It is so smooth and so creamy. So what I'm going to use to highlight the inner corner is actually the highlighter that I'm going to use on my face. Because I love this highlighter and because this is more of a fall inspired look, I wanted to do something a little deeper than just like a white shimmer on the inner corner. So I am going to go in with my Wet n Wild shimmer palette to reflect, which is like the goldy color, which is gorgeous. And per usual, I'm going in with my Real Techniques smudge brush. It's teeny tiny. And I'm just going to kind of swirl that together. And then I'm going to dab off some excess. I just wanted to make sure that I swirled the colors together really nicely. And then I'm just going to go in that inner corner. That is vibrant. It is beautiful. I probably can use whatever's left on the brush for the other eye. For bronzer today, I'm going to go into my Master Contour from Maybelline. Now they have these in 2 different shade variations. So there's like a light one and a darker one. I have both, but the one I'm dipping into is the dark. And I am going to be picking up that bronzer with my BH Cosmetics 114, which I've been favoring this brush lately to bronze only because it's smaller, and I feel like that way I can get into the areas that I want without bronzing like my entire face if that's what I want to do. And I just feel that this brush helps me to do that. For blush today, I'm dipping into a new palette, and I am so excited to be doing so. This is the LA Colors So Cheeky Blush and Highlight Palette. I hauled this the other day. This is what it looks like. Absolutely, I'm loving the way these blushes look. I did swatch them. Again, this is the first time I'm using them on my cheeks, but they swatched beautifully. I'm going to be picking up my BH Cosmetics V3 brush, which is my slanted blush brush here. And I think what I am going to do is I am going to mix the purple and the dark pink here, just kind of dab lightly into each shade and see what we get. I can tell you there's some kickback when I dip my brush in there, and I'm just dabbing because, again, I don't know how pigmented these are using a brush, which they really are. I'm loving the way this is blending out and the way this looks. Feels very matte as well on the skin. There's some blushes that just feel super creamy even though they're powders, which is okay, but I usually like a matte finish anyway. Just seeing how that's looking on the viewfinder. I think it looks really nice on the cheeks. Nice healthy glow, although you can see some color, but it just looks very healthy. I like the way it looks very much. So actually what I'm going to do is, because I've used this Wet n Wild highlighter many times before, I'm just going to stay in the palette and use the highlighter because I've never used it before. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to go into the gold shade down here, and I'm going to use my Morphe M501 brush, which I usually use for highlighting. Nice wet looking highlight. And I didn't grab too much. I'm sure if I really wanted to go ham, I could absolutely do that. You do pick up a good amount just by tapping the brush in there lightly, and that's why I'm kind of taking it easy, because I don't, again, know how pigmented this is. But I am liking the way that looks. It's enough without being too much. For lips today, I decided to go vampy. I am going to be using my Infallible paints from L'Oreal. It's the Smoldering Eclipse color, and this is the metallic one. So I am just going to use this straight on the lips with no liner. I did swatch this, but I haven't put it on the lips. Oh boy, look at that. Well, I can tell you just by having applied it once, love the fact that it's not streaky. I think a lot of times when you get into these very vampy, very dark colors, especially with liquid lipsticks, they can be a little patchy. This applied beautifully. I really like this color a lot. I didn't know what to expect with it. It looked like something I was gonna like, but I absolutely love the way this looks with the purple, with the kind of purple pink cheeks. I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna pop on some false lashes because I actually do want to finish this look off. Sometimes I will put on lashes, sometimes I will not, but today I think it's one of those days this look just kind of calls for it. And then I am going to style this pelo, and I will be back in just one moment to show you the whole transformation. So I put on some Ardell lashes, which are one of my favorite type of lashes or style of lashes, even above some of the higher end lashes. I just love the way they look. They look very natural. They're also very easy to apply, and I just think overall the look is very gorgeous. So this is the final look. Thank you so much for joining me. I know that I had just a really good time putting this look together, because even though a lot of these products were products that I was using for the very first time, they not only met my expectations, but surpassed them. So now obviously it's the wear test, see how things wear as the hours progress. But to start out with, the LA Color duotone eyeshadows that I used 3 of them. I used about 5 colors. Very, very impressed with these shadows. This is definitely a look that I am going to recreate throughout this season and the winter season. Again, it's one of those things where all the elements were just right and it just came together so beautifully. I am absolutely loving just the whole color scheme of this look. Is just something that I feel is gorgeous, and I think it's going to work for any skin tone, to be honest. Thanks again for spending a few moments of your day with me. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also be sure to click that little bell so you get alerted as to whenever I upload new videos. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!